It certainly is a part of history that I never learned about, and most of us never learned about, and it's perhaps a dark part of American history.
Having been in the military, I didn't even know about the Bonus Army, and I was an officer in the Army.
I knew nothing about all of this before I was cast in this show.
I had never even heard of the Bonus Army before I was asked to be involved in this production.
People know about the Dust Bowl. People know about the stock market crash. People know about the bread lines. People may even know about the WPA.
This is a wonderful piece of history that is often overlooked. It's not taught about very often in schools.
This is a story people don't know about.
I mean, it was really the first big march on Washington. Is kind of the granddaddy of all the marches that have come since.
It's World War I veterans. It's these military veterans marching against their government, trying to get what they were promised by their government.
They were living in tent cities.
In 1932, it was unheard of to have a completely integrated community anywhere. And they were a completely integrated community. People from all walks of life, people of all colors and races were living together in the flats, as if there were no differences between them, because they had reached a point where they could see that there was no real difference between them.
It's interesting that we're just celebrating this 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech. That's the most famous march on Washington. But this has kind of paved the way, this event.
There's a lot of relevance there. What Dr. King preached and what President Obama said is that we can't rest on our laurels, we have to keep going.
To be home and watch a speech about that and then come here and think about these veterans and what they were going through and realize that we're, as a country, we're still on this progression and we have to keep working at it.
Here we are, how many decades later, and we're still fighting for a lot of the same issues.
This march really kind of woke people up to the fact that all these men had gone and fought and they weren't being taken care of.
Obviously, we treated our vets poorly, and we should understand and learn from it. The GI Bill came out of the fact that we mistreated the vets.
I am, or I was, I should say, a former second lieutenant in the United States Army. My MOS, as they say, was 25 Charlie. I was a signal officer.
It was one of the major reasons the GI Bill was created, so that there would be protections for veterans after the wars.
I am a product of ROTC and Reserve Officer Training Corps, so very much what the veterans fought for way back when was kind of the precursor to ROTC and the GI Bill.
So it's hugely significant on so many levels. So I think a veteran maybe coming today to see the show might not know that history either, and it would kind of be great for anyone, but especially a veteran, to connect to that moment in history and realize how important the march was to the whole country, but especially to veterans.
The World War I veterans who protested in DC to get their bonus sounds like something that could be written in response to current events, especially like Occupy Wall Street or current veterans wanting to, get the treatment that they were promised when they would come home from wars.
We are very excited about taking care of people in the moment and addressing tragedy, and then things are very quickly forgotten.
We want to celebrate our veterans and thank them for their service, and then we want to forget that they existed because we're just uncomfortable with the whole concept of war.
I think what's great about this story is the fact that it touches on something for, I think, everyone on either side or in the center of the political spectrum.
In terms of our attitudes and the kinds of, the way we respond to people and the things we're afraid of, I think those things tend to be a little timeless. And I think it'll surprise people how relevant something set in the 30s can be.
And it still resonates because the kind of injustices that existed for the Bonus Army and what they were protesting against, unfortunately, still exist today and still touch a nerve.
It's worthwhile getting up and saying what needs to be said no matter what happens. That we fight losing battles, but those battles eventually get won.
Instead of saying this is the good that came out of this, they wanted to say this is what these people went through. And this is how they were treated when they tried to get what they deserved.
they're just constant issues that just keep reverberating within our culture, and we have to remind ourselves that these things came at a cost. Freedom is not free. Basically, we have to remember the people that came before us and what they fought for, and basically work in order to keep those same rights that we all are entitled to under the Constitution.